What's going on, everybody, and welcome to my review of Superman Returns, released in 2006, directed by Bryan Singer and starring Brandon Routh as Superman. Right off the bat, I have to say that I love this movie. It's one of those films that has aged in a really interesting way. It didn't get much praise when it came out, but I think people are finally starting to see how much it got right. For me, there's just so much here that works incredibly well. It's not perfect, but it might honestly be my favorite Superman movie. Superman Returns tells a story of Superman coming back to Earth after being gone for 5 years, during which he went off to find the remains of Krypton. In that time, the world has moved on without him, including Lois Lane, who now has a kid. But of course, just as Superman returns, Lex Luthor is once again trying to kill him. This time, Lex has a new and very ambitious plan to use stolen Kryptonian crystals and kryptonite to create a brand new island in the Atlantic Ocean, which he wants to use to basically blackmail the world. It's a creative and honestly kind of wild plot, but what makes the film work so well is how it ties this bigger-than-life idea into a very grounded, very emotional core, because what this movie really is about is Superman returning to a world that has changed without him and trying to find his place again. Starting off with the positives regarding Superman Returns, and one of the main positives regarding this movie is how well it is directed. Bryan Singer's direction in this movie is actually fantastic. There's a really specific tone to this film that I love. It feels mythic, but it also feels fun. There are a lot of lingering shots, a lot of wide frames where Superman just kind of floats or looks out over the city, and you can really feel the weight of who the character is. It's not trying to be an insane action film every second, it's trying to explore the emotional consequences of Superman's return, and I really love that direction. And when the action does kick in, it's awesome. The plane sequence is still one of the best Superman moments ever put on screen. The way it's shot, the sound design, and the suspense, it's all incredible. You genuinely feel how powerful Superman is, but also how much danger there is. That whole rescue is like a love letter to what makes Superman so cool in the first place. And then there's the island sequence where Lex Luthor and his men absolutely beat the crap out of Superman using kryptonite, which is one of my favorite scenes of all time. It's intense, it's brutal, and it's heartbreaking. Watching Superman get stabbed with a kryptonite shard and then just kicked over and over again and thrown around is rough. And the way it's shot, with the music and the sound of the island crashing around him, genuinely feels like he might not make it. It's a rare moment in a superhero movie where the hero feels vulnerable in a very real way. So that sequence is absolutely a huge positive for me. Now let's talk about Brandon Routh's Superman. I have so much respect for his performance. He had the impossible job of trying to follow Christopher Reeve, and I honestly think he did a phenomenal job. His Superman is quiet and feels like a natural extension of Reeve's version. He's not trying to do something totally different. He's continuing that legacy. And it works. There's a real sense of sadness in his eyes sometimes, which makes his Superman feel human, which is ironic, but also exactly what I want from this character. He's overhated for sure. Routh deserved more recognition than he got at the time. But now let's talk about Lex Luthor in this movie. While I'm not a fan of Kevin Spacey as a person at all, his take on Lex Luthor is honestly great. He brings this really cold and bitter energy to the role. He's still theatrical and over the top, but there's something meaner about him than the Gene Hackman version. He's scary in a grounded way, and I think he plays off Routh's Superman really well. That moment where he stabs Superman is just so cruel, and you can see the hatred in his eyes. Say what you want about the whole real estate plot, but the way it's done here feels more apocalyptic. The fact that Lex literally wants to sink half the country just to make room for his new continent is cartoonishly evil, but kind of fun. It's different. It's not just take over the world in the standard way, it's personal. I just wish the logic of his plan held up a bit better. Creating an island is visually cool and definitely memorable, but what's the actual endgame? Who's gonna live there? And what's the appeal of jagged kryptonite terrain that no one can build on? It's kind of nonsense if you really stop and think about it, but in the moment, the movie sells it well enough. The other thing I really love is how this movie just feels like a continuation of the Reeve films. It's got that same optimistic and hopeful energy to it, but with a more modern visual style. The characters all feel consistent. Lois, Perry, and even Jimmy to some extent. There's even a little musical cue here and there that ties it back. And speaking of music, the score in this movie is phenomenal. John Ottman brings back the original Superman theme, which just hits so hard, and the way it's used throughout the film is amazing. Whether it's soaring over a rescue or subtly playing in an emotional scene, it always fits. Visually, I think this movie holds up incredibly well. The CGI, especially for 2006, is still really solid. The flying looks great, the scale of the Kryptonite Island is impressive, and Superman himself looks awesome in every shot. There's a specific moment near the beginning where he runs and jumps again, gradually building momentum until he just takes off, and it's beautiful. It's a perfect way to show how he learned to fly, and it feels like a Superman moment in every sense. The rest of the characters are also really solid. I liked Kate Bosworth as Lois, even though she wasn't given a ton of standout scenes. I really enjoy Sam Huntington as Jimmy Olsen, and James Marsden's character was actually a great addition. The fact that he's not a jerk, but a good person is great to see, and I really appreciate that aspect of his character. It made the whole Lois-Superman dynamic feel more complicated and mature. If I had one issue with the movie aside from the logic of Lex's plan, it's that I kind of wish it was bigger. For a film called Superman Returns, there's not as much action as you'd expect. What's here is really well done, and the emotional focus is admirable, but I wouldn't have minded a couple more standout set pieces. Still, what we get is executed really well, so it's not a deal breaker. So overall, I think Superman Returns is an incredibly underrated movie. I love the way it's directed, the action is fantastic, Brandon Routh's Superman is one of my favorite takes on the character, and the emotional weight of the story hits way harder than I expected. I love how it continues the Christopher Reeve legacy while doing its own thing. The CGI still holds up, the score is awesome, and the characters all feel right. Even though the villain's plan is kind of silly if you stop and think about it, the movie commits to it so well that I don't mind it on a level that could make me hate the movie or anything. So for all those reasons and more, I'm giving Superman Returns a 9.75 out of 10. So, what do you guys think of this movie? Do you love it, think it's just okay, or maybe even dislike it? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to comment below. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. I really appreciate your support. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.